Remain seated, please. Permanecer sentados, por favor.
Hello there. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Get back in here, MJ. Get back in here. I want you here as well. I just want to go ahead and call out MJ, not for she's doing anything bad, but because she's doing so well. Thank you so much, MJ, for joining us today here as producer extraordinaire in the background. I'm going to go ahead and set you back on over there. Just want to go ahead and highlight you for just one moment. Thank you so much. Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to another great episode of Vash Sky ParkCast. Skyliners! It is quite the week's events when it comes to the world of theme parks. And here's the thing, we really just mainly covered what was going on with the Walt Disney Company. But as you know, there are many more theme park proprietors out there, including Universal and especially Six Flags, which we'll be covering as well on this stream for sure. This is it's quite extraordinary, I must say, just how much of a transformation is going on in all entertainment, not just theme parks, but also too with media, with streaming, with theatrical. Everything going on right now is, left is right, up is down. Cats are living with dogs, or whatever the expression is. I don't know. I got to figure that one out. But with Six Flags, though, this once a lauded regional brand is unfortunately, a lot of people are pulling back from that. And, most unfortunate for us, the Cedar Fair parks are, they're affected by that as well because, guess what? They decided to merge. That's fantastic. Awesome stuff. How's it working out for you? Not exactly too well. But there are other theme park proprietors who are trying to keep their heads above water, who are trying to give us as much as they possibly can, or in Disney's case, as little as we'll mind having and paying for. It's not good right there. But there she goes, for sure. There was a couple of things that we didn't actually cover on that earnings call. Shareholders meeting, I should say. Earnings calls are a little bit different. So earnings calls are when these corporations like Disney, for example, they have these quarterly meetings with investors, right? These kind of open calls that anybody can actually hear, and they go over the quarter's financials. Shareholders meetings, totally different story, totally different audience. That's where you get the AI questions and so forth that actually come in. With this shareholders meeting, they had some proposals that didn't actually get approved. One of them being one related to DAS. I think we have MJ for at least that segment right there to comment a little bit on that. We might actually be doing more in-depth coverage as a separate video itself. So definitely hit that subscribe button for sure. That is going to be very, very cool. Who do we have over there in the chat right now? Awesome stuff. Let's see. Mary Vita, hello there. Thank you so much for coming on in. It is great to see you over here at Vash Sky ParkCast. Oh no, that leaves them at negative 36 flags. I know that's no good. I don't like that at all. We just covered a story actually on Vash Sky ParkCast talking about how Six Flags was selling off about 7 of their parks right there. So I think that's what's being referred to right now. Chef Eddie, I heard Six Flags Company sold 42 of their flags. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good right there. Mary Vita with the jokes. Very much appreciated, guys. Thank you so much. O2ORR coming in here. Thank you so much for joining us. Eric Stratton, awesome to see you in there. Coach O'Dragon, also in there. Thank you. Daily Dose of Deborah, thank you for coming on in. Awesome stuff. And also, big shout out to OG Dutchie, who has really supported this channel. She's always out there sharing the links and doing all of that. Yes. Thank you so much, OG Dutchie, for actually doing that. I know she can't watch right now. She's got to be on the rewatch, which is very unfortunate. We always want her in there. We always want you a part of these live streams and so forth. So when we actually moved this time an hour up, it's a little bit weird. I was like, ooh, it's pretty early to do something like that. But fortunately, you guys, you got the message out there. You were able to show up, and I very much appreciate that. And OG Dutchie, we will make the rewatch just so impactful for you. I want to go ahead and give you a big shout out and a thank you from me to you. Maybe we'll do that on a weekly basis or something. maybe highlight one of our tremendous viewers who has done so much. That might be pretty cool. Well, Oji Duchy, thank you very much. Greatly appreciated for everything that you do. Oh my goodness gracious, yes. And can't wait till you're monetized so I can member up. I know. Here's the cool thing. We have hit that first level of monetization. We are over those 3,000 watch hours. Thanks all in part, everything because of you. Not in part, because of you. We were able to achieve those amazing metrics right there. Thank you. Thank you so much for everything that you're doing for this channel. You're helping us grow. You're getting the word out there. Our sub growth is absolutely tremendous. It's really cool. It surprises even me, actually. I go off and do something. I come back and it's like, let me just take a look at that sub growth. Whoa! It surprises me. That is for sure. And it's because of you that we were able to accomplish that amazing goal. I am now in the process of actually attempting to apply for monetization. And upon approval, we'll go ahead and debut all the things that we're going to do for you. I want to go ahead and debut it as early as next week. And maybe like Wednesday or something like that. Maybe celebrate 2,000 subscribers, which we just hit as well. I just got to make sure that they approve it at that point. But when they do, oh my goodness, it is going to be absolutely tremendous what I have in store for you guys. Because I've been wanting to do memberships on any channel that I've been associated with for years and years and years. And I just could never dedicate myself to what I needed to fulfill, having a membership, right? It's just, there was just so much going on. And now finally I have that opportunity, I have that chance to give it all to you. That's going to be super cool. All right, let's go ahead and get into one of our first stories of the day right here. Going to be talking about a little bit about what happened to that shareholders meeting right there, because now we have the reaction, the fallout, as you will. We were keeping track of that stock price at the time, and we were noting it was dipping below 100. It's got that 99 right there. That's no good. And I think it was Erica who asked me whether it was, can't remember if it was on stream or off stream. She was like, why is it doing so badly? You would think that a new CEO coming in would perk the stock price up. I told her, I said, what has Disney done or said in the last week, or even at that shareholders meeting, that provides shareholder or potential investor confidence? What product, what do they have that's different from their contemporaries in entertainment that can see them shoot up through the stratosphere? Especially when it comes to the comparison between them and the S&P 500. Over the last 10 years or so, if you stuck your money in the S&P, you'd be way better off than having it stuck in Disney. And a lot of investors feel as though they're stuck because their money has languished with the mouse. A little bit of sunk cost, I do believe they refer to it. Well, we now have reactions from the investment community, and that's it's no good, folks. Okay, you may have seen a little bit of this coverage on Pro. You may have seen a little bit of this coverage on that Park Place. We're going to go ahead and bring it to you here because I have some very interesting thoughts about this as well. And I want to go ahead and make sure that everybody's up to date, whether or not you have seen those streams or not. Here you go from Deadline. Tough love for new Disney CEO Josh D'Amaro. Wall Street frets over sluggish stock. This by Jill Goldsmith, March 18th, 2026. You can see right there. There's Joshy. He's just got that big old smile. Ready to tell you what would make you feel good, but maybe not what's going to be good for your wallet. Wall Street analyst Rich Greenfield has a tall order for Josh D'Amaro. In a note yesterday, he urged Disney's new CEO to exit linear television, take more creative risks, and pursue a transformative acquisition, particularly in the user-generated content space. Yeah, television is very interesting, right? That's why we went over Deborah O'Connell. Deborah O'Connell is a very interesting woman as an executive at Disney, the head of Disney Television right now, because she's no nonsense. She's gonna be cracking them whips or whatever they do in C-suite to really get people to. I don't know where I'm going with this, but no, Deborah O'Connell, no, she's going to be able to make those tough decisions, right? In order to make something like Disney Television viable in the future. Because right now, not a lot of people are watching TV. They watch it for maybe live sports, and that's about it. People are moving on to streaming, right? They're going on Disney Plus, they're going on YouTube, they're going on all these other avenues. So do you maintain the value of Disney Television to maybe spin it off? Do you shut it down in order to save money? What do you do with Disney Television? That's very interesting. At least Rich Greenfield, he's saying, get rid of it. Pursue a transformative acquisition is also interesting because Josh D'Amaro actually, there were some shots fired, which I thought was very interesting. I think I have those comments here in video form. But you can see right here, shots fired at other studios as Disney's new head honcho shares what they have and that others don't. That's by Dick Libby here of Cinema Blend. And it says right here, simply put, while others in our industry, this is Josh D'Amaro here, are consolidating just to compete, are struggling to be relevant in a fragmented and disrupted world, Disney is in a category of one, poised to accelerate into our next era of innovation and growth. Consolidating just to compete. Who do you think he's talking about right there? Is there any big consolidation happening in the entertainment space that you can think of? I can't quite put my finger on it. There's something there. Let me just see. Oh, wait, yes. Warner Brothers and potentially Paramount Skydance. That's what that's referring to right there. And, well, I guess Josh, not a very big fan. I will say, Disney was asked about whether or not they'd be joining in on that race for Warner Brothers, and they flat out refused. They were like, nope, we ain't touching that with a 10-foot pole. Why? Because they were heavily criticized over the 20th Century Fox deal, especially by Nelson Peltz. And guess what, folks? Everybody's kind of figuring it out and going, yeah, that wasn't such a great buy, especially for what Warner Brothers might be adding to Paramount. When it comes to that whole deal, oh, that's where you want to be, folks. That's the acquisition that Disney wanted to have. But hey, you know what? Oh, they're just consolidating just to compete. They have to. We are going to be poised as you know, an army of one, or sorry, category of one, to accelerate into our next era of innovation and growth. Well, I can tell you right now, shareholders and investors, they weren't convinced. Here we go. Michael Morris of Guggenheim said Disney under D'Amaro needs to deliver, quote, a more regular cadence of excellence in branded and new content releases and provide increased transparency and guidance across all of its businesses. Streaming, film, television experiences, he wants fewer splashy announcements like deals with Epic Games and OpenAI, but evidence of, quote, more measurable incremental wins from new investments. Oh boy, what have we been saying, folks? What have we been saying for the last 3 years when it comes to Disney and these earnings calls and so forth? What? Bob Iger, he pulls out that magic, that rabbit out of the hat every single time and gets you to say, hey, look at this new shiny thing. Don't look at the numbers, folks. Look at this new shiny thing. Yes. Focus on the shiny thing. Investors are figuring this out. You can't do that forever. And unfortunately, when it comes to Josh D'Amaro, he's now put in a pickle where, well, he can't use the same tactics because, well, Bob Iger already used them up. You know, the goodwill has run out. Let me go ahead and see if I can change this to dark mode right there for you guys. There you go. Is that better for you guys? I always debate on that, whether or not dark mode's better than light mode. Gets rid of some of the extra stuff, right? Very, very interesting. But look, OpenAI, $1 billion into that. Do you know how much money is going through OpenAI right now? I think they're poised to lose like something like $14 billion this year. We got hundreds of billions of dollars coming in from all kinds of companies to try to infuse into OpenAI and make it the, you know, next big thing ever seen for the entire world, as the United States, at least in the AI space, competes with China. It's honestly, it's it's nothing. And I think this investor is saying it absolutely is nothing. Epic Games, I mean, Fortnite's not going to be relevant forever. It's going to die off just like every other mainstream game has. I remember when WoW was like, wow, literally WoW, World of Warcraft, when it came out back in the 2000s or thereabouts, right? It's like the next big thing. Everybody was playing it. Everybody was doing something with it, right? It was awesome. It was great. It was fantastic. And then, how many people play WoW anymore today? Now, no offense to any of you WoW players out there. I don't want to pull a Timothy Chalamet, besmirch anybody who might be in ballet, opera, or WoW players. Right? It's a little joke for you. For those in the know right there. Late, but thank you. No, when WoW kind of, it reached its apex and so forth and started kind of trailing off, it trailed off hard and people went and they played other games. So Fortnite, yeah, you got this $1 billion effort to merge your products there and join forces and so forth and go forward in the marketplace with that. But how long is that all gonna last? That's what is being talked about right here by investors or potential investors like Michael Morris, because they noted Disney stock has dramatically underperformed the market despite having one of the most valuable brand portfolios in the world. Absolutely, there's no question about that. You have Star Wars, Marvel, Pixar, you got all these amazing things. Why is the stock the same even before some of these acquisitions actually took place? How do you acquire something as valuable as 20th Century Fox or whatever, and the stock price is the same? How is that possible? That's a $70 billion acquisition. They still have $35 billion in debt today because of that. And you've added almost no value in terms of where the stock price is. Quote, since outgoing CEO Bob Iger returned in late 2022 and current CFO Hugh Johnston became CFO in December 2023, Disney shares have underperformed the S&P 500 by 60% and 38% respectively, noted Morris. While the drivers of relative share weakness are broadly debated, these are opportunities to rebuild, quote, investor confidence. Disney shares dipped nearly 1% on Wednesday, closing in on $99.42, roughly at the midpoint of their range over the past year. They are down almost 13% thus far in 2026. It was a dour day for the markets overall, as oil prices surged, new flashpoints, etc., etc. Greenfield called his suggestions, quote, 3 bold moves that DMRO must make to reinvigorate Disney's lackluster stock price performance over the past decade. Again, this is what Nelson Peltz was talking about. This is what numerous people connected to that, right? Ike Perlmutter, for example. This is what we've been talking about for all this time. It's like, guys, the stock isn't going anywhere. You're not adding value. You're not adding products that people care about. And yeah, sure, maybe you might have the hit movie, right? You might have, and this actually goes into that a little bit, you might have, I don't know, Inside Out 2. Very popular, very big, right? It was one of the highest grossing animated films of all time when it was released. Good stuff. But how much more Inside Out merch or attractions to the parks are you going to manufacture, sell, to capitalize on that success versus being able to establish a new franchise with an entirely different merchandise lineup and maybe even an increase in IP that you could actually use for the parks? That's what you have to balance out here. And as we've been saying for years now, this year's box office, well, didn't go so well, as contradictorily that might sound from Disney themselves. By sector, Morris believes Disney's headline success masks some underlying weaknesses. Chasing headlines, anybody? Quote, we see a clear disconnect between management's recent bullish commentary on box office performance, like the $6.5 billion in 2025 box office, number one globally for the 9 of the past 10 years, and actual business performance, he wrote. D'Amaro touted the box office numbers at today's annual meeting of shareholders as he delivered his first public remarks as chief executive, noting Toy Story 5 coming in June and dating Lilo and Stitch 2 and Incredibles 3. It's Lilo and Stitch, guys. Lilo and Stitch. Come on. Morris may have a, quote, buy rating on the stock. That doesn't mean he hasn't grown frustrated. Quote, specifically, we would argue that these metrics are largely backward-looking, and in the case of 2025, skewed by an expensive franchise, Avatar, that has little impact on the Disney business broadly, and a significant mix of underperforming tentpole films. Further, recent performance and the 2026 outlook are largely reliant on sequels and remakes and under-indexed to the development of new stories and characters. He said Hopper's current Disney release was Pixar's best animated debut since 2017. Yeah, Hoppers. Okay. You know, I mean, the drop was pretty shallow. I think it was 37%, and it opened out the gate okay. But I think Valiant Renegade actually noted that Scream 7 debuted at a much higher number worldwide. I think it was like $94 million versus Hopper's at 88, if I'm not mistaken right there. I think it's on pace, at least with my calculations, them being what they are, around $500 million. I think it will clear that threshold if, in fact, it is able to skirt past Super Mario Galaxies, which I don't know if that's actually going to happen. But that's a $150 million film. That's the thing about this. It's like, that should be performing way higher. That should be well over $1 billion. And yet that's just simply not what we're seeing. Add in inflation, and the outlook is much worse than even what the raw numbers connected to the box office would actually intimate. And that is really, really astounding right there. I think it needs, I calculated well over, something over $500 million in order to break even. So anything past that point is profitability, but you don't spend that kind of money to break even on a film like that. You really want it to do gangbusters business at the box office and create a new line of merchandise, maybe theme park IP and so forth. It already technically is in theme parks. I think it has a presence at Redwood Creek Challenge Trail and Disney California Adventure, but with something like that, that's a very, very expensive display. When it comes to other hits, right, especially 2025, Lilo and Stitch, yeah, good, awesome. I mean, it did huge business, no question about that. And especially given that I think they only invested like $100 million into that. Good stuff. No problem there. But when you have Tron come out, when you have Snow White come out, when you have these box office duds come out, well, now the numbers, they don't look as lavish as what has been stated by Disney. And investors, they're getting wiser, they're getting savvier, they're looking at this company with a little bit more intrigue, a little bit more interest, and they're coming to the same conclusion. I don't know about all this, folks. I don't know. By the way, no financial advice on here. I understand what Morris might say. No financial advice on this channel. Just want to be very, very clear. But you just look at it, folks, and I think you can make judgments when it comes to the financial health of this particular company. And here's the thing. This is why we go into it with such depth, right? People are asking, hey, wait a minute. This is a theme park channel. What are you doing? Understand, what happens at C-Suite and what happens in entertainment affects the parks, especially because the parks, guess what? We ain't getting original attractions anymore. It's just IP attractions. So the quality of whatever entertainment is actually generated emanates largely from Dana Walden now, right? And its success is completely contingent on whether or not they can actually resonate with audiences with their stories. And that limitation will affect the parks greatly, right? You're going to be limited with franchises that you're hoping are going to be box office successes, but might actually not be. And that's no good. We've seen in Disney history, by the way, numerous times when the Imagineers put all their eggs into the basket of this movie's going to be successful. It comes out, it's a dud, and now those ideas go away. We've seen that multiple times. I think, what is it? The first time is, Discoveryland? Over there at Disneyland. It was going to be roughly, actually, where Star Wars Galaxy's Edge is today. But they were like, oh, we're going to go ahead and we're gonna make this amazing land right here. It's gonna have all these steampunk concepts. It's gonna be this amazing theme park enterprise. It's gonna just set Disney on the map right here, Disneyland. Nobody's going to be able to compete with it. I think early versions of Tower of Terror were actually there. Maybe early versions of Star Tours or something like that. Like, there was a lot going into the land. And then they themed it all around a movie that was coming out. I'm trying to remember what that movie actually was. Well, that movie failed. And then now it's like, now we don't get that. We got various iterations of that land in various parks around the world, specifically Disneyland Paris and Tokyo. Disney Sea. But we unfortunately never got the Discovery Land that we were supposed to get at Disneyland because, well, they decided to put all their eggs in that basket. Let me see if I can actually find out what that was. Let me see here. Let me see. Give me just 1 second. What was that? Oh, Discovery Bay. Sorry, my bad. Very much apologize. Discovery Bay is the that was the land for Disneyland. Discovery Land is basically Tomorrowland for Disneyland Paris. Forgot about that. That is for sure. Let me see here. What movie tie-in was it? I want to say it was something. Island at the Top of the World. I think is what that was. Yeah, no good. But it would have incorporated like the Mark Twain and the Columbia. It would have been awesome. Would have been super, super cool. That it always bums me out to hear about Discovery Bay because it sounds like such a great, awesome concept with a lot of rich lore, rich theming, and so forth. There you go. Here's a little bit of that for you. There's a really great piece of concept art though, if I can find it. Yeah, here we go. That's the one. Take a look at this. This is Prime, by the way, Tony Baxter. And specifically Tony Baxter's era. You can see right there. Awesome stuff. But they themed it to the wrong movie, and we never got it. So that's why it's really important to go over what actually happens in entertainment, because, I mean, these two are linked, folks. They're not going away. And it's really unfortunate that is the case, right? Because I would love original concepts, things that stand on their own, things that aren't linked to a movie per se, and go forward with those as new theme park investments. It's not reality. And we have to approach reality on reality's terms, and those are the terms that reality has set forth. No good. No good at all, but that's what's going on right now. By the way, I don't know did any of you guys see this? Let me go ahead and bring this up right here. This was actually very fascinating. We've been talking about Avatar going into Disney California Adventure, for example. This is, this kind of this overlap right between Disney Entertainment and the theme parks, right? And how these things overlap and how one affects the other and so forth. Avatar, unfortunately, when it comes to Fire and Ash, didn't do all that well at the box office. By the way, let me see what we got. Let's see what we got right there in the chat. Linda Burns, want to go ahead and say, Pam Epson, thank you so much. Good to see you. But Linda Burns, thank you for being in here for as long as you could be. I very much appreciate you showing up, and hey, catch us on the rewatch if you could. But we've been talking about this relationship, right, between entertainment, box office, all of that. Avatar, Fire and Ash not doing so well, and I've been talking about the idea of do we go forward with Avatar at Disney California Adventure? Does it quite make sense? And a lot of people have said, not really. The other movie that came out around 2025 was Zootopia, and that did really, really well. Well, apparently, there's this article that's come to light. Here you go, folks. Loading the page. What? Look, Mickey is always loaded. Come on. No. Why? Why is this happening to me? Okay. Maybe we can go ahead and... Sorry, folks. This is live. This is live stuff right here. We're gonna go ahead and try to fix this on the fly for you. Come on. Load. Firefox, what are you doing to me? Come on. Okay. Zootopia Hot Pursuit is the highest rated attraction at Shanghai Disney. Land is huge attendance driver. Okay. we have one instance of this working out. Now, again, it's in China, right? It's in mainland China. So the audience, a little bit different than those in California. But still, this is a huge franchise. It is up right now, okay? Like, let's just graph this out a little bit. When it comes to stuff like Avatar, right? Avatar, that goes back to 2009, right? And you can see it has a trajectory, starts way high and it's going down. Zootopia, not nearly as long in the tooth as a franchise, much more relevant, and it's on the upswing. Why aren't we approaching that similarly with theme park concepts and doing the math and going, hey, maybe we should invest in Zootopia rather than Avatar? Doesn't that make sense? I don't know. At least here at Blog Mickey, I'm sure they have metrics to show where they cite that huge driver of attendance. But it's just really, really, really weird how they're not concentrating on something like Zootopia over Avatar, especially because, like Animal Kingdom, for example, and that new Zootopia Together attraction, it gets decent intrigue from the populace. A lot of people upset and disappointed that, well, we just didn't see a better realization of the Zootopia brand in that theme park. I think this is a franchise worth investing in. Clearly, it has its fans, it has its fan base that you can build off of, sell toys to. I saw people dressed up as Judy Hopps. It was crazy. It was absolutely insane. So let's see right here. We have a special guest for you guys. One that is coming in here for the very first time on Vash Sky ParkCast. She just made her entrance right here, and I want to go ahead and be respectful of all the panelists that we have, their time and so forth. It is the one, the only Jess coming in on Vash Sky ParkCast. Hello there. Oh, I believe you are muted.
You'd think this was my first time ever doing this. I promise it's not. Thank you.
No, you're good. You're good, Jess. No, don't even worry about it. I was told, literally right before the show, so sorry, by the lovely MJ, that you are the person to talk about when it comes to Six Flags. And I definitely want to get into this with you because the stuff going on at Six Flags is super interesting. We had people in the chat right there talking about how, hey, they're selling off like 7 of their theme parks, right? Or spinning off or whatever. And then those would be held by a parent company and those would continue to operate, obviously separate from the Six Flags chain. And hopefully that, with that, I don't want to say dead weight, but with that, with those theme parks, right, that may not contribute as much to the bottom line as other theme parks, maybe that will set Six Flags on a course of success. Well, we have this article from Reuters, Jess. I want to go ahead and take you through this really, really quickly and try to break this down. And I really want to get your reaction from this because it was revealed, I believe, a few months ago, maybe half a year ago at this point, actually, that Travis Kelce, along with Jana Partners, was going to take an equity stake into Six Flags. And everybody was like, that's a little weird. And apparently they have a lot of comments about how Six Flags is being operated. Here you go. Exclusive, this Reuters here. Jana Partners pushes Six Flags to explore sale, replace board share. Letter says, this by Svea Herbst Bayless, I do believe, March 17, 2026. New York. Activist investor Jana Partners wants theme park operator Six Flags Entertainment to explore a sale and immediately appoint a new head of its board of directors, according to a letter reviewed by Reuters. The call for change comes just months after North America's largest regional amusement resort operator hired a new chief executive and less than a week after appointing National Football League star Travis Kelce as brand ambassador. In a letter addressed to Six Flags' board, Jana cites concerns about the board's inability to deliver for shareholders and calls on the company to engage with buyers. Quote, it is now in the best interest of shareholders for the company to reverse course and engage with known buyer interest in Six Flags. This Jana managing partner, Scott Ostfeld, wrote. The firm, one of the industry's busiest activist investors, also wrote that board leadership changes are needed and the company should appoint a new chair. Marilyn Spiegel was named chair in January and has been a director since 2023. The company did not respond to requests for comment. Okay, we saw also, too, the last earnings call that Six Flags held. It was not good. It was not good at all. I say the kiss of death for theme parks is twofold. One, reduce attendance. Two, lower per caps, lower guest spend, right? Six Flags had both. And that's not good at all for any theme park proprietor to have. Your thoughts, please, on the health of Six Flags, what you think about this particular story right here. We can go into it with a little bit greater degree of depth if you prefer, but I kind of want to go ahead and get your initial thoughts on what you think about all this, please.
Yeah, certainly. The 7 parks that they are divesting, I think sold for around $350 million, somewhere in that ballpark.
Right,
You could build a couple of very large roller coasters for that, and that would be it. So that's a crazy low price just to kind of go right out of the gate. It tells you how much they need the money.
It does. And not only that, though, it's if you look, the current valuation, I believe, for the entire company is $1.7 billion. Now, that's not good either, considering that your competitor like Disney, for example, I understand different market, right? Regional theme park versus destination resorts. I get it. But they're spending $60 billion over 10 years for their theme park operations. Six Flags cannot get that much capital. There's going to be no way that's going to occur. But it's just very, when you look at the financial health of this company, it's just surprising to see how we got here. Let me see if I can get a little bit of B-roll on us right there. What do you think, Jess? What do you think that Six Flags could do in the short term with limited capital to increase maybe tourist interest or maybe audience interest? I mean, clearly people are not going to these regional theme parks in the way that they had just 5-6 years prior. Yeah. What can we do to turn this around?
Yeah, I think, unfortunately, right there, you're seeing that Siren's Crest was closed for a lot of the first season. This was for a media event in particular. But they've got to start offering things that draw in young families again, I think. Cedar Point, in particular, which was really my home park for the better part of the last 39 years, it's known as being a major thrill park, which is great. But when that's your only audience and something like this, a major new coaster, continues to have maintenance issues, you're going to see less people wanting to come because they don't know if those attractions are going to be available for them. There are some great things for families to do that most people don't necessarily associate with some of those parks. There's kids areas, there's kids shows, you've got Snoopy, but I don't know that they really play to that audience as much as they should be. I think you could do some relatively inexpensive events and things that would draw in a little bit different target audience than what they're used to. And they're all right there. They're readily available. They live in the towns where these parks exist. You just have to really draw that in and not just focus on your big thrill rides.
I think I agree with you. And what was it? I think it was Salim Basoul, the CEO of Six Flags, just original company before it was merged with Cedar Fair. I think he tried that kind of what he called premiumization. If I, maybe I butchered that. Premiumization is basically like, we're going to go ahead and charge maybe a little bit more. We're going to go ahead and rejuvenize some of our areas within these parks, right? Make it more family friendly, put in family rides that appeal to that demographic. We're going to go ahead and remove a lot of the perks that we may have given to annual pass holders, right? Maybe dial down the meal plans and so forth. I think he actually talked about Walmart customers on some of those meetings and calls. Maybe not the great choice of words there, but I think he did try to take this brand into this direction. Would you say that is still sound advice, maybe approach differently, or would you take a different tact? Please.
I will say, specific to Cedar Point, and I think this is true for quite a few of the other parks, you could get their gold level pass for $100 a person. That's nothing, right? I mean, in the grand scheme of things, to get unlimited access to that park, depending on which one you got, either for the entire summer or in some cases all the way through their Halloween event. I know last year, one of the things that we saw during Cedar Point's Halloween weekends was that right at the last minute, they mentioned, oh, by the way, we're going to start adding this charge for the indoor haunted houses that we've never charged before. So that's one of the things they were trying to do, was add monetization where maybe it didn't exist before, but doing it mid-season wasn't the best way to go about that. Another interesting thing that I've seen, and it reminds me of maybe a decade ago at Magic Kingdom, when they put in that like VIP lounge in Tomorrowland that didn't last very long. It was kind of cabanas in the middle of the park. They've done that also at some of the Six Flags parks now. Where
really?
Yeah. So at Cedar Point, there's one right near the entrance to Millennium Force. There's couches and there's TVs and there's like free soda and chips. It's interesting. I think it's a weird use of the square footage, though.
I would agree with that. That is, I didn't know that they were actually doing that. I don't know how well that's actually going to play. I mean, I suppose if it's at an approachable price point, maybe, some of these parks, maybe they lack shade, maybe they lack a lot of amenities that other highly themed entertainment destinations have. So perhaps that might work in some respect. But I think the way Disney was doing it was a little bit like, that's a bad one, folks. It's just a little bit too nakedly greedy. Maybe it could work here, but those extra monetization efforts, Halloween haunts and so forth.
It tends to be empty. You don't see many people sitting in that area. I mean, I was there at least once a week all summer long last year, and you only saw a handful of people there. And it was usually if the park was crazy busy and they're like, please give me something to do that isn't waiting in line. Right. But yeah, it's been interesting how they're trying to monetize versus what maybe would be better for their audience.
Wow. Very, very interesting. Let's go ahead and go back to this article just for a second. I want to read this one additional point right here. This again from Reuters. Quote, we have witnessed, this is Jada Partners here, an alarming pattern of board dysfunction and disjointed decision-making that has become impossible to ignore. Ooh, that's not what you want to say. In the letter, Jada cites a string of shortcomings at the board level, including how the directors sat on the announcement of Riley's appointment as chief executive in November for days while the company was experiencing a crisis of confidence. It also criticized the board's approval to reaffirm financial guidance in September to calm nervous investors, only to then slash guidance weeks later. Certainly, when you're looking at this, when you're looking at how this merger has actually taken place, I think it's gotten a little bit. There's been some friction there about who should actually be in charge: the established Six Flags executives or the Cedar Fair executives. And I would imagine, just when it comes to performance metrics alone, I think that debate could be clearly solved by looking at, okay, Cedar Fair ran their parks this way. They were profitable. They were actually doing very, very well. Six Flags ran them that way, and they weren't so profitable, and they weren't doing well. In fact, I believe at the time, Six Flags was like the only one not experiencing the same resurgence from post-pandemic visitation that was experienced with all these other theme park proprietors. They were the only ones not experiencing that. That revenge travel didn't hit them in the same way that some of these other theme park proprietors had enjoyed for those years post-pandemic. It's very strange, very, very weird. We also have a couple of other theme park, Six Flags related stories that I want to go ahead and get to here. And Jess, I'm dying to know what you think about all of this, because in light of all this bad financial press, well, there's also bad public press as well. Let me go ahead and highlight this right here. Six Flags over Texas, March 17, 2026. The safety of our guests and associates remains a top priority at Six Flags over Texas, and as part of our ongoing commitment to maintaining a safe, family-friendly environment, we've adjusted our chaperone policy for spring break. All guests 17 years of age or younger must be accompanied by a parent, guardian, or chaperone age 21 or older for entry into Six Flags over Texas, and must remain accompanied throughout the duration of their visit. This policy will be enforced daily from open to close. Now, that's not good. But I've seen these chaperone policies implemented, like at Knott's Berry Farm, for example, because it was dealing with a whole cadre of different things at that particular theme park operation. The chaperone policy worked, but there might be a bigger issue at play. Let me see if I can go ahead and get this going right here. This is Six Flags over, what is it? Kings Dominion. Yeah. The Hanover County Sheriff's Office is aware of social media posts circulating that reference a potential, quote, teen takeover event at Kings Dominion on opening day, March 21st, 2026. While we encourage everyone to come to Hanover County and enjoy all that our community has to offer, including a safe and fun day at Kings Dominion, we want to be clear: disorderly conduct, frightening, trespassing, or any criminal behavior will not be tolerated. This is from the Hanover County Sheriff's Office right here, saying, hey, be on high alert in for this particular theme park. And it just keeps going on. I was going to say Six Flags Over Georgia is affected, and apparently the so-called teen takeover, this mass viral event here, might actually be affecting them as well. You could expect to see a large police presence in places like the parking lot and so forth in order to quell concerns there. Jess, what is going on here? This is the last thing Six Flags needs, I would imagine.
It's interesting because I've seen a lot of this in the news for spring break stuff going on right now too, not at theme parks, but just at beaches like Daytona and places like that. Yeah. It seems like it's becoming a trend. I'd say number one is parents, please control your kids. But if not, and we still have situations like this come up, I don't blame the parks for putting these kind of things into effect. I would say I don't know that they necessarily enforce them as well as they should sometimes, even though it's unfortunate that they have to exist. I've certainly seen my share of large groups of clearly kids. They're young to middle teenagers on their own in the parks. Often mom and dad are waiting in line for a coaster, or maybe they're getting a drink or something like that. But it does impact the guest experience. And when that starts to happen more frequently, people with families and people that don't have families and just don't have a lot of tolerance for that aren't going to want to come to the park anymore. It doesn't feel safe, and it doesn't feel like you're getting your money's worth when it's just chaos.
Of course, absolutely. And it was most unfortunate for Knott's Berry Farm, I know, because they kind of have already cornered that family market, right? That maybe not so interested in top tier thrill attractions, maybe don't have the money to go to places like Disneyland or Universal, are looking for alternative options. They're going to Knott's Berry Farm. And it was only a couple of years ago, I do believe, that you had some very high profile incidents involving, I guess what the kids say on these various platforms, the pew-pews. And that was no good. And so that's where that chaperone policy was implemented in order to quell those concerns from people, like you said, from families and so forth, who want to actually visit these parks and feel that it's an unsafe environment. I do agree with, maybe noting the social media presence out there and taking precautions in order to prevent a higher profile incident than what's in the press right now. But it's just like, man, you just have all these, all this bad press happening pretty much everywhere, and I just don't know how you get out of that. We're seeing footage right now of King Dakar, and it's no longer present.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, exactly. Do you think Six Flags is going to be able to generate the capital necessary in order to continue to invest in their parks, in order to get big time thrill rides going forward, or we're just going to limit our investments, big time investments anyway, to maybe a handful of parks, and that's just going to be it, and maybe do something else with the other 30 or so parks that they have in their roster? What do you say?
I think we have not seen the last of the divestitures. I'd be surprised if others weren't let go. Just because, again, like, how do you generate more revenue when you don't have the money to spend in the first place? You have to let go of things that aren't making you as much money. So maybe some of the bigger players stay in, but we see some of the other ones fall aside to more regional based theme park operators. An interesting aside that, I was just kind of thinking as we've been talking about some of these teen takeovers. I don't know about all the Six Flags or Cedar Fair parks, but Cedar Point used to have its own independently operated police department. It was actually Cedar Point Police, kind of like you see at Disney, right? So they weren't just security; they were actual police. A lot of them were fresh out of college, you know, in whatever degree field, and that was like their first job as police officers.
Sure.
But they had a lot more authority and a lot larger presence in the parks. And a few years ago, that was taken away for whatever reason. I don't know a lot of the ins and outs of what made that decision, but now you just see kind of a sprinkling of security guards through the park again. And it kind of makes you wonder, like, is it worth taking a second look at other options? Because you can't have, in Cedar Point's case, Sandusky Police covering Sandusky and the park as well. You only get one or two of those officers generally. So I don't know. I think that there are alternatives to maybe make the parks a little bit safer and have a bigger security or police presence.
Wow, I had no idea that it actually existed, and I had no idea that it had gone away. Man, Jess, you were the absolute right person to talk about this with, because it's something we can all learn. I mean, obviously, that kind of organization within the parks was established for a reason, right? And while in this era of cutting, we might be thinking of the bottom line and all these other metrics, it's important to understand that, you know, these things, while maybe expensive, while maybe things that we don't necessarily want to pay for, in some cases we might have to. Wow, that is very, very interesting. Let me see here. I'm trying to get up the next story because I think this is actually really, really cool news coming out of another Six Flags park, Knott's Berry Farm. Yes, folks, we don't want to go ahead and be overly negative about the Six Flags brand. We love Six Flags. We absolutely want it to endure and provide these amazing spaces for these regional locations that maybe aren't serviced so well by the big two, that being Universal and Disney. We want to go ahead and make sure that we keep that heritage going. And so, positive story here. There you go. I love this one. Absolutely cool. This one kind of actually caught me by surprise because I am very familiar with Knott's Berry Farm. I keep close tabs on it, but even I was shook by this last revelation right here. There you go. Knott's Berry Farm reopens the Birdcage Theater after long-awaited renovation. By Eman Palm of KTLA 5, Knott's Berry Farm has completed the first full overhaul of its beloved Birdcage Theater, which had operated inside a temporary tent structure for more than 70 years. This is a long, long time venue. I believe Steve Martin performed here. A lot of amazing vaudeville, talent had made their way over to the Birdcage Theater. A lot of people developed their first foray into performance and theater with this Birdcage. It's just, if you know its history, you know what I'm talking about. The park unveiled the renovated venue on Friday, kicking off its annual Boysenberry Festival. Quote, "The Great Bank Robbery," which debuted during last year's festival, was the first show performed in the refurbished theater. Knott's Vice President of Entertainment, Peyton Adams, told KTLA 5 the project reflects the park's commitment to traditional, performer-driven entertainment. Yes. How many times, Jess, have we been complaining as an entire theme park community about Disney maybe, taking back a little bit of the entertainment, not really dedicating as many resources as they should towards live entertainment acts, especially for those who may not want to ride and want to enjoy the vibes of the park. Well, guess what, folks? Knott's Berry Farm's got you covered. Quote, "This really is the heart of Ghost Town," Adams said. "We do melodrama where very few people do melodrama at all anymore. At a time when other players in the space are increasingly moving towards screen-based entertainment, we really pride ourselves on human connection." This is kind of what you're talking about, Jess. Yep. Right? Please go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, it was in a tent for 70 years. That's wild to me. I didn't know that. I've never been to California. I've never been to Knott's Berry Farm. But I was fortunate enough when I worked at Cedar Point a few years ago to know some of the folks that were from out there. A very, very talented organization that they have. They made the theme park what it is today. Live entertainment, I think people kind of take it for granted sometimes. Not everybody loves to sit down in a theater and watch a show or sit and watch a parade, but a lot of people do. And when you start taking away those opportunities, or they're not super high quality, or they're saying screen based, or what we've seen at Disney where the parades have half the performers that they used to, you notice it. And I think it's amazing that they're really investing in the live entertainment at their parks.
It's super, super cool. This all these pictures at dapsmagic.com. Mr. Daps does a tremendous job covering Southern California, stalwarts like Disneyland and so forth. Please go ahead and follow him both on his website and on Twitter, I do believe is where his presence is. You might have an Instagram and so forth. Definitely go ahead and check him out. But the theater looks absolutely fantastic. This is kind of the foyer here that you see. I'm going to go ahead and just skip ahead. There you go. That's the actual theater itself. Looks absolutely divine. Now they have like these chandeliers that are in bird cages, right? The whole idea is this is modeled after the famous Tombstone location, Tombstone, Arizona, that is, and giving that feel of the Old West right there in the middle of Ghost Town, and putting on shows not too dissimilar to what they actually enjoyed in Tombstone, Arizona at the time of Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday and everything else, right? Super, super cool. Let's see a little bit more from here. The Birdcage Theater opened in 1954 as a replica of the original 1881 theater in Tombstone, Arizona. The renovation focused on preserving the building's heritage while addressing long-standing comfort and technical issues. The updated building now features a fully insulated soundstage enclosure, upgraded air conditioning, and improved soundproofing. Yes, air conditioning, boy, that's really something right there. Yeah, it gets hot out there. I mean, it was like 95. The last couple of days there, it was not good. The sound system has also been modernized. Inside, designers restored long lost thematic details intended to make the venue resemble a giant bird cage. Demolition revealed birdcage themed wallpaper hidden behind wood paneling for 50 years, which has now been reintroduced. I know, it's so good. Adams said that the team worked carefully around the building's original adobe brickwork, which limited the ability to install traditional theater seating. New seats were chosen to echo the look of pop-up theaters while improving comfort. Adams said the entire overhaul was completed in just 8 weeks. Whoa! He describes it as a behemoth of a task, and I do agree, it is. Now, the one small thing I want to go ahead and take away from this entire article is this last thing right here. What Adams says, and I just love this. This is what gets me very excited. Quote, "My hope is that we are known as the leader in the space of live entertainment. We're doubling down and investing in human connection because I think that's what people crave the most these days." Jess!
100%.
You had to agree with that.
In a world where we are stuck on our phones just to find out what ride we're going to next at every single theme park we go to, what an awesome way to have a break from that and actually get human connection with actual live performers and not just a screen with augmented reality. I think that's great. Look at those footlights. I mean, that's awesome.
Come on. It's so good. It pains me to go into Disneyland or something like that. You go into the Golden Horseshoe Saloon, and you used to have the Billy Hill and the Hillbillies out there. They were doing such a great job, and they were doing 5 shows a day, and that house was packed. Everybody was having a fun time. You go there today, and there's nothing there.
And where did Billy Hill and the Hillbillies end up?
You're Knott's Berry Farm history there. Yes, Crazy Kirk and the Hillbillies made their way over to Knott's Berry Farm.
And drew huge crowds when they moved over.
It's
just saying something.
Come on.
Yeah.
It really is. You saw, like the Hyperion, for example, this 1,984 seat venue in Disney California Adventure Park, this state-of-the-art theater space. Broadway level shows have been performed there in its 25 plus year history now, and it's currently being used as a rehearsal space for the Bluey presentation that will make its debut this, I think, late spring, early summer for Disneyland. It's and
that's where Aladdin had been for quite a few years, right? I've seen that on YouTube. Yeah, what a waste of space. Honestly, when the announcement a few years ago was made that they were going to put a theater on Main Street in Magic Kingdom, I was so excited. And then they took that away too. But
I know. Yes, that's a good callback right there. Absolutely. It was going to make its debut over there in this kind of back end area of Main
Yep.
Street. And, they were really excited about it, really hyped about it. They announced it at the 23 Expo. Was it 2011, 2013, something like that? And it never actually came to fruition, which was really, really unfortunate. You can see right here, if people don't believe me, yes, they just unveiled what they were actually doing for Bluey, Disney that is. And you can see right here where she's sitting at, where these performers are actually performing is in the Hyperion Theater. I know what the Hyperion Theater
in
looks
those
like.
seats. Goodness.
Yeah, I know. It's so frustrating. It's this huge venue. It's an amazing venue. You could put on such great live entertainment for this theme park that desperately needs it, right? I mean, you've only got a couple of e-ticket attractions to keep people satiated, keep people satisfied, and you're going to be expanding the footprint of this theme park through huge construction projects like Avatar, like Coco and so forth. It's like, hey, give people a reprieve, give people value for their money, open up this venue, and entertain people for 45 minutes an hour, and they're not doing that. It's just really
these were theaters like this, man, that they make people happy. You're cool, you're being entertained, but they're people eaters, and that's what Epcot years ago used to do so well, and we've lost that.
Oh, it's tragic. It's tragic. But when I hear about Knott's Berry Farm really committing to that live entertainment right there, that, like you said, is a really, really great story. And why, hey, go out to your original theme park right there. If they're putting an emphasis on live entertainment, support those actors, support that theme park operation. Tell them that that's what you want to see. You want to see more of that. And I think the good times will come, no matter if it's Six Flags or anywhere else for that matter. Jess, you've been absolutely amazing to have on this program right here. I want to go ahead and be very respectful of your time. And I do believe MJ wanted to go ahead and assist us with your amazing outro. Please, go ahead.
I just wanted to say thanks, Jess, for coming in. And, when we were talking earlier, he brought up the segments, and I'm like, I know the perfect person for this type of discussion, and very knowledgeable. So everybody in the live chat, if you're watching or if you're listening, please follow Jess Hart's theme parks. I will be putting her links in the live chat. And thank you so much, Jess, for coming on the show so last minute and giving us your time. It's really, really appreciated. And show everybody out there, show your love to Jess. Go ahead and give her a like and subscribe. She's got a YouTube channel, Instagram and X, right, Jess? Anything else I'm missing? Okay.
No, thank you so much for having me. I was laughing. I got a text from MJ, and I'm like, we're packing because I'm moving to Florida. We're coming to Orlando in a couple months, but super excited to be on, and just really thankful for you guys. So thank you so much.
Jess, that was awesome. Thank you so much. This is the very last minute right here, literally right before show. So for you to have that flexibility to come on and give us your time, I want to go ahead and thank you from the bottom of my heart. That is awesome. And you're welcome back at any time. Hey, this is a theme park channel. We got theme park stories, and we cover. I'm trying to cover a lot more than just Disney. Yeah. And you are perfect for that. I think you're perfect for some Disney stories as well. I'm sure, Jess.
Thank you so much.
Very much appreciated.
Bye, Jess.
Oh, bye. Awesome stuff right there. That was so cool, MJ.
She is the bomb. She's the bomb.com.
Wow.
Absolutely.
See,
that's what we need. We need fresh, new blood and people.
Yes.
We have to be, how do you call this? We have to give each other support as friends in this community. The most beautiful thing in my opinion, as a person, I love to see others flourish and uplift especially us women. No, I know you're gentlemen.
Oh no, I get you.
I mean, and she's a mom, and she loves theme parks, and she's a wealth of knowledge with Six Flags and Cedar Point and Knott's Berry Farm. And as you can see, I mean, it just makes my heart so happy. I'm like, this is your time to shine, my dear.
Absolutely. And MJ has been doing such an extraordinary job of, look, she booked talent. I mean, producer extraordinaire right there. I've only done that very occasionally. She's doing a tremendous job and sharing out those amazing links in order to get people like Jess, found right there. So,
and I do need to shout out Ron over at Follow the Bradleys, because I actually was on a panel with her, but I met her through Ron. So I do want to give credit where credit's due. So thank you, Ron. I see you out there in the chat.
Absolutely. That's super, super cool. That is great stuff right there. Let me see if I can get that on the screen right now.
I think he was just
Ew.
saying, he said, "Who?"
Wait a minute. Hang on here. Come
You know-
on.
You know
It's
who you
just-
are, Ron.
Yes. You do know who you are, Ron, for sure. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. I think we got that right there.
There you
Yes.
go. That's
Right
it.
there, everybody.
That's her ex account, and she's also on YouTube and Instagram. So yeah, check her out.
Absolutely.
She's great. She's great.
Fantastic. Thank you. All right. Let's go ahead and get on to our next one right here. I'll go ahead and I'll throw it to you, MJ, real fast.
Sure.
Do you want to talk a little bit about what happened at the annual shareholders meeting with DAS, or do you want to go ahead and go to our lead story, which is PeopleMover?
Oh, whatever you want to do is fine with me, Vash. You know me. I'm hanging out, man. I'm just checking on everything while you do your thing. This is your show.
Well, it's an important story, and it's one I think
Go for it.
you are perfect for, at least to talk about it from a more empathetic side, for sure. Much better than I can, because, well, you know what, people might see me as a news guy or whatever, but I actually do very much care for all those viewers out there and everybody who actually goes to these theme parks. But UMJ, you have spoken so passionately about this in the past. I know you're perfect for going into this. This being Blog Mickey, shareholder proposal for disability access service review fails. March 18, 2026. Yes, this is the one proposal that I think everybody was looking forward to see whether or not it stood a chance at all when it came to the annual shareholders meeting this year. And we've been covering this on the various platforms like Park Place and Pro for actually a little while, monitoring the story right here. At first, Disney was trying to cite SEC rules as to why they actually couldn't bring it up at the annual shareholders meeting. And the SEC said, hey, we don't have those limitations. I don't know what you're talking about. And then Disney was like, oh, I guess we'll go ahead and we'll showcase this anyway. We'll just go ahead and, ask our shareholders to politely vote it down. As expected, a shareholder proposal for an independent review of Disney's disability access service has failed a shareholder vote. The proposal has gained a lot of attention within the Disney fan community, but it failed a vote of shareholders, earning only 5% of the early vote totals. The shareholder proposal was a direct response to a massive overhaul of Disney's disability access service back in May of 2024. In short, the May 2024 changes significantly restricted the number of guests who qualify for the program. Controversially, Disney limited access to the program for guests who had a, quote, developmental disability like autism or similar. This change greatly reduced the number of guests who qualified for the DAS program. To be clear, the program was bloated, and the previous lenient requirements likely meant that there were a number of guests utilizing the program who shouldn't have been using it. That's in Blog Mickey's opinion right there. That's what they're saying. Take that as you will. I don't know to the extent at which this program had, maybe been used by people who, weren't, I don't know, who shouldn't have qualified, but to each their own. Likewise, new restrictions seemed to swing too far in the opposite direction, clearly excluding guests who would not only benefit from the program, but also guests who may not be able to experience the Disney theme parks without the program at all. MJ, this goes back. I mean, we covered in that Park Place very famously a case in which, you had a woman who was wheelchair bound, who had, I believe I think it was like a feeding tube or oxygen or so forth. And it was very clear. And I think I made the case at the time that, look, if you were to poll all of the people going to Disneyland that day, who actually should get DAS and who shouldn't, I think all of them would very much agree that this individual qualified for DAS, and yet that was not an option provided to her. I was hoping that there might be a review. I think the shareholder proposal, the person actually on the call making the case in front of shareholders was saying that 85% of disabled individuals who applied for DAS and were denied might not actually come back to either Disneyland or Walt Disney World. I do believe that was the wording actually used right there, which was very surprising to hear for me. Your thoughts on all this, MJ? Can we at all hope that changes might be made in the DAS program to be a little bit more inclusive?
I absolutely think that they have to review and kind of try to undo what has been done. I mean, people are with their pitchforks and torches, they're upset. It was a lot of stories we covered on T3PO too, where or it was at that park place where the little girl that had a transplant, she's
Yes.
suffering, and there's so many stories. My God, it is a turnoff. People are not going to go back if they were turned down. It's almost like it discourages you from even thinking that, yeah, we're going to have a great vacation, because you're just going to be stuck in a very long line. But it's very controversial because you got the lightning lane system that's trying to, be this ultimate moneymaker for the company. And then you got, the DAS program was abused. Yes, a lot of people took advantage that didn't need it, and therefore it hurt the ones that truly did need it. But I, personal experience, I need the DAS for myself, but I have gone without it, and I'm not waiting that long in the line for a ride. And I really think there's so much they tried coming up with this strategy where oh, we're gonna nickel and dime you to get quick, get on the rides quicker. But then my experience, because I've been going to the parks, since the new system has been implemented, it doesn't affect my park day. I'm able to ride whatever I can get on, and I'm not waiting that long. So they really have to get their act together, because there's just too much, like I keep saying, there's controversy, because you don't, as a person with a disability, whether it's cognitive or mobility, you don't want to be inconvenienced and wait in a long queue full of people, because if you have anxiety, it could trigger that. If you get panic attacks, it could trigger that. So
Right.
you want to get in and out, and they need to be able to accommodate us individuals, but they're treating it, they're coming up with all this all these phrases and wordings and all these things like, oh yeah, you're perfectly capable, just get a wheelchair and sit down and have someone in your party push you until you get into the part where you board the attraction, because they don't feel like you need the DAS system. They don't feel like you qualify for that. So I am just personally taking it all in and observing and noting my experience in the parks these past 12 months, because it's just going to keep changing. But Universal, on the other hand, has been doing an excellent job at doing their due diligence and actually accepting, doctor's notes and paperwork from your physician, acknowledging that, and putting themselves in a position where, okay, we're not a medical professional to tell you whether you qualify or not. So bring that to the table, and then you will have your pass. So they got their act together, and Disney needs to get their act together. And I do have high hopes that the system will change, because it just doesn't make any sense. Like I said, I'm not waiting long for anything that I want to do. There's things I can do, and there's things that I can't do. And I'm willingly sharing that with the audience, because everybody goes through things. Everyone has their limits and their abilities. And I even ask questions to people in the community. Hey, how did it go on that one ride? Did you get accommodated? Were they able to accommodate you? So the cast members are really the key to this whole thing. If they do the training right, if they do the retraining, I should say, because they are getting retrained from my understanding, unless I'm wrong. They're taking more. They're taking another look on this, and they're observing the guest, and they're like, you know what, this person really could use a little bump up a little bit. Just look at their situation. It's like, we got you. We're going to take care of you. And I've had that happen personally. So it's getting better as far as that's concerned. But what has happened is just not okay. It's devastation. It's devastating to those families that really need it for their children that are, not capable of enjoying like other kids, and adults that really need to not be in a long queue and they just want to get on with their day and take their medication, go to the first aid center. All of that takes time. So everyone, to each their own, everyone has their own situation, but that's just my take on it, and also my personal experience with the program.
Yeah. No,
Mhm.
I hear you, and that's the most devastating thing, is that they provide a lot of maybe alternatives to DAS, and I mean, some just aren't simply realistic for every single situation, for every single accommodation, and not nearly as accommodating on a base level as DAS was for the people who really are in quite the predicament when it comes to the visitation of these theme parks. And one of the things that was really kind of mischievous, maybe, that you couldn't actually apply for DAS in some instances until you actually bought your tickets first. And everybody knows they're non-transferable, non-refundable. So
Exactly.
if in fact you couldn't actually be accommodated via the program, what are you going to do? That's a big open question right there. And it's like, yeah, okay, use Lightning Lane. And it's like, yeah, but Lightning Lane doesn't cover all attractions. So, especially at Disneyland, if you want to go ahead and go on all those Fantasyland attractions and so forth, which, by the way, there might be a disproportionate use of those certain attractions by DAS recipients. I haven't looked at the numbers, but I'm just, speculating here. You can't be accommodated via Lightning Lane in that instance. So it's like, what are you going to do? It's just, they went really hard on this, and we all know why. By the way, Disney likes to cite, oh yes, there was abuse and so forth, and look at these numbers and look at all these metrics. That abuse that took place didn't actually occur until Lightning Lane was implemented.
Mhm.
That's when the number of DAS recipients went up, and Disney's doing this largely because they want to maintain the revenue stream, that being Lightning Lane. When FastPass was a free option, right, or I should say an included option with your ticket, that paradigm was certainly different. And we've seen that, even if you don't use DAS, for attractions like what you're seeing right there, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, if you want to go ahead and ride something like that with like FastPass, right?
Mhm.
There is a certain level of expectation of efficiency, right? And for managers, the incentive was to be as efficient as possible in order to get as many people through. But when you put a price tag on that incentive changes. And maybe you induce more Lightning Lane sales if you're not 100% efficient. And I've been told, that doesn't actually happen, but you can see where the incentives lie. And so when it comes to something like DAS and you get this enhanced, usage of it, well, guess what? That cuts into their bottom line. And now that's when we have to actually do something about it. It's not good. It's very ugly. And the hope was, hey, maybe we can get the shareholder proposal approved and we can have an internal review of these practices by DAS and figure this out. Unfortunately, shareholders did not join in on that effort, which was very, very sad.
Mhm.
MJ, final thoughts on this one?
Yeah, no, it is unfortunate. It's such a sensitive subject. They probably didn't want to speak in front of the world because they were under a microscope that day. I really think that conversations will happen behind the scenes that we won't be able to hear. But I really think that the majority of the people that are buying up the multi-pass, that it's a type of pass, right? The one that you purchase and you can ride each attraction once the whole day for in that whole park.
Yes,
They're feeling sheepish, like in
right.
in Aladdin. I feel sheepish because everyone else is just like passing right by them or they're boarding at the same time. It's unnecessary money that you're spending unless you got it like that. There's no need for that. And the big ballers, the big spenders, the people with the the thick wallets, if you will, they don't care. They will buy the multi-pass for every member in their family or party or group and not think about it twice. But it's not necessary. If they only knew that certain attractions throughout the park don't have that much long of a wait because the parks are not as busy as you think. It's just the hype. They just, it's just the company is trying to hype it up. Oh yeah, we're busy. No, you're not. You're not that busy. Sorry. You're not.
Yes.
I'm just saying.
It is really, really something. I wish there was a tangible solution out there that Disney could implement overnight to include more people. I wish there was. How should I put this? Disney sometimes they just can't help themselves, and they don't have the systems in place in order to hold back on some of these, monetary positions or procedural changes, right? And it's getting to the point now where it really has diminished the experience, especially for previous DAS recipients. So, hopefully we get solutions on this front. Hopefully, they make some alterations to the program in order to make it just a little bit more inclusive and allowing for the widest gamut of the population out there to visit in the manner that is most befitting to them. But alas, I don't know if we'll ever get that reprieve as we so desire. So
it goes for both parks, if you will, because I have friends that are, they live in New York and they're, hey, MJ, I want to go to Universal. I want to do Epic because they've never done Epic. Epic is hot right now. But they've also, word of mouth has also spread to the point where they're like, hey, I got to do the VIP thing or I'm not going to be able to get on all the rides like I want. And I'm like, who told you that? Where are you getting that info? It's just word of mouth. It's just the bees. And it's just the buzz. People, it goes for, I'm talking about both parks being guilty at this point. Epic for, being actually notorious right now for if you don't have a VIP package, you're not going to get on all the attractions that you want. You're going to be waiting 2, 3, 4, 5 hours for the attraction over at Ministry of Magic. So it just depends on the day that you go. I highly recommend always going during the week, not during the weekends, and stay away from any, breaks. Because the schools, we're avoiding everything at all costs this week, by the way, people. My kids are home.
Yeah.
We took them out.
People are all down for MegaCon, right? Spring break.
It's just the time to understand that it right now it is busy. I don't know how, I haven't seen the numbers this week for the Walt Disney World Resort, and I haven't seen the numbers this week for Universal, but I do know there are days that are just completely sold out. But it's sad to me. Let me just backtrack. It's sad to me to think that there's people out there that feel like they cannot experience Epic Universe unless they have a VIP package, and those can run you anywhere from $400 to $500 per person. So it's like, what's happening? I mean, it's out there. If you go on Grok or Gemini, you can ask AI. It's just insane. And that's what the parks are, and they're making their money because you got your base ticket. Plus, you got your multi-passes selling out. You got your VIP packages selling out. These companies, they are milking the cow right now. Both of them.
They are, and sometimes not in the best way possible.
No, not in the best way.
Tiffany Cooper here in the chat. Thank you so much for watching. Yeah. My blind daughter had such a hard time at Disney. There were some seriously rude cast members while my daughter was using her white cane, and one cast member tried to jump over her cane. Yeah, that's no good right there.
It's unacceptable and inhumane, actually. I'm so sorry that happened to you guys. Do not deserve that. No one deserves that, actually. So.
Absolutely. And I'm hoping for, future of customer service and guest relations, right, at the Disney parks that we can, we talked about before about the Thomas Moslem and how he wanted to go ahead and overhaul a little bit of the culture going on at Disneyland, at least, right, and get some of those customers trained up again and make sure that that they were providing the same guest experience that people are familiar with pre-pandemic. Hopefully, some of those changes implemented we can see company-wide and avoid some of the issues like you encountered, because Tiffany, that nobody should have had to endure that. No. It's just not at all very, very good. Thank you so much, Tiffany, for commenting there. Ryan, I don't buy that Disney is trying to limit DAS to increase Lightning Lane sales. It's in Disney's best interest that the people don't wait too long. People stuck in lines are not buying merch and food. That is very true, and that was one of the reasons why FastPass was implemented back in the day. The hope was if you had less people actually in line and outside of queues, then they could actually be, buying merch or indulging in food sales and everything else. Well, didn't quite happen the way they believed, and unfortunately we had to have all these snack carts and restaurants pop up in order to satiate the demand from people being outside of queues. So operationally, it did a lot more to the system than I think they were originally thinking. I happen to know that is one of the reasons why this program was changed, because it was interesting. Len Testa was the first one to highlight this, and I did my own internal review, and that's what I found from my research and from the sources that I have. Disney started noticing that Lightning Lane sales were down, if not the same, but Lightning Lane use was up dramatically. How does that happen? It happens because the DAS program has more recipients on it than maybe they felt comfortable with. And so to balance that out, that's why they changed DAS. So, and the rules behind it. So I hear you. I mean, it's probably not one-to-one, right? There are probably a lot of things that caused those changes. I can tell you right now, that was certainly at top of mind there for Disney regarding that rule. All right, let's go ahead and MJ, let's go ahead and get to our lead story right here. If you don't mind, I might go ahead and put you in the back, but if you want to go ahead and comment on this next story or anything else we might cover, please, you are welcome to just butt in if you'd like and comment, okay?
Bye,
go ahead and get it going.
Remain seated, please. Permanecer sentados, por favor.
Walt Disney World news today. 2 guests climb out of stopped PeopleMover in unauthorized exit at the Magic Kingdom. This by Lauren Streckner, March 16, 2026. No, do not do this. As the fine clip just stated right there, remain seated, please. Technical difficulties were too much for one couple who were captured on video leaving their PeopleMover vehicle and walking to an emergency exit stairway during a brief pause on the Walt Disney World attraction. According to her account, the PeopleMover briefly stopped during a temporary delay on the evening of March 14th. 2 guests climbed out of their ride vehicle, which was just about to enter the Space Mountain portion of the attraction. They walked in between another vehicle, which was exiting the Space Mountain section, before walking along the tracks to a set of emergency exit stairs. The ride resumed operations, quote, within 10 seconds of the guests exiting. That's not good. Nobody was harmed or injured, and cast members were quickly informed of the incident and were able to get photos of the 2 guests. There you go. We got the video right here. Just understand, folks, I haven't pre-screened this for language, so just be aware. You might hear some things. Fortunately, it's only, I think, 12 seconds long. So here we go. Let's see what we can glean from this.
They have stairs right there. Yeah, there's some people who were about to this is right here, and I think like
This not good. Please do not do this. This is unbelievably dangerous, especially with Walt Disney World's PeopleMover, because if people don't know, I believe it's linear induction that actually sends these PeopleMover cars through, right? It's not like Disneyland's PeopleMover back in the day, where you had a system of motors pushed powering wheels in order to power your vehicle forward. The reason I bring up that distinction is because with these linear induction systems, these PeopleMover cars can't stop on a dime. Okay, once they get going, and they don't stop for anybody. So I'm just saying, this is a very, very dangerous situation. Please remain seated with all hands, arms, feet, legs inside the ride vehicle at all times until your vehicle comes to a complete stop at the station or when you're asked to leave that vehicle. Guys, this is the People Mover right here, okay? I can tell you the history of the People Mover at Disneyland. It's pretty grisly when people don't follow the rules and don't stay within their ride vehicles. I believe 2 people, to be YouTube friendly, expired actually trying to hop between People Mover cars. And we know this actually. Let me go ahead and see if I can get some B-roll here for you of Tomorrowland in general. I understand that, Disneyland doesn't have a People Mover, but that's going to be the best I can do, at least for right now. Let's see right here. There you go. That's the one. I'm going to go ahead and bring up a picture of Disneyland's People Mover, and I want you to see what I see when it comes to their operations here. Let's see. I believe what? 1990s Disneyland? Yep, there we go. That's the one I want. Okay. Give me a second, folks. I'm getting this all together for you. I know I should have done this before. I apologize. All right, let's see. Come on, get my photo. All right. There we go. That's the one. Yes, I want that photo. And let's go ahead, put that on the screen right here. If I can find it. All right, let's see. Boom. Disneyland's People Mover was very interesting in its construction because at the end, near the end of its life cycle, you can see right here. You see what's very interesting about Disneyland's People Mover as opposed to Walt Disney World's? See those cages? Those cages were put there for a reason. Because people couldn't be trusted staying in their ride vehicles and not actually getting out and hopping cars and so forth. And unfortunately, like I said before, 2 people no longer with us because of incidents over the, 30-some years that it actually was active at Disneyland. I think it made its debut in 1967, if I'm not mistaken, and then closed up, I believe, 1996. If I'm not mistaken, please go ahead and correct me in the chat right there. But yes, this is that way for a reason. And I will say, Walt Disney World's People Mover surprises me in that you don't have any cage type structure or anything like that. You don't even have seatbelts, which I'm not saying that this attraction necessarily warrants seatbelts. I would very much like for those not to be a thing, but I just kind of, unfortunately, know human nature, and it's like, people do things when they aren't restrained in that manner right there. And the linear induction motors actually allow for smoother transit for sure, and they built a canopy over the entire ride track, which is really, really cool in Magic Kingdom, that Disney would actually go to that lengths and so forth to provide just a great guest experience in general, because Disneyland never enjoyed that. But it also meant that the track had to be completely flat, right? So it didn't allow for elevation changes, unlike Disneyland's back in the day. So that's kind of a little bit of history and a little bit of factoid knowledge there for you. All of this to say, there is no mechanism by which people, when they get out of these ride vehicles, they don't stop, guys. They keep going. There is no pressure sensor. There is no emergency stop. There is no, we get used to, I think, as a society, right? If you get into an elevator, right, you stick your hand in there, or arm, it stops, right? And then it just opens back up, and you're good to go, right? It's all meant so that there be sensors and so forth in place in order to prevent, loss of limbs and so forth. Okay, that doesn't exist for big attractions like Haunted Mansion, like People Mover, like Space Mountain, as you're seeing right there on screen. These things move, they don't stop. So when you get out of those vehicles, or when you have hands out, or when anything happens like that, bad things are guaranteed to happen. Let's see right here. I believe we have this report of some kind. I don't know what does one of these doesn't actually say where this comes from. That's interesting. Okay, we'll read it anyway. At 7:54 p.m. on Saturday, March 14th, 2026, two guests jumped out of their ride vehicle, Vehicle 2, onto the Tomorrowland Transit Authority PeopleMover. The ride was experiencing a temporary delay, so the ride was stationary at the time. The incident occurred on the section of track just before going into Space Mountain. A second ride vehicle, Vehicle 11, leaving Space Mountain, was stopped directly next to Vehicle 2. The two guests climbed out of their seats in between the two vehicles. They walked around Vehicle 2 and along the track to a set of emergency stairs and exited the ride. The ride started moving again within 10 seconds of the guests getting off the ride. No one was harmed or injured during or after the events. Cast members, leadership, and managers were all informed about the incident and were able to get a proper reference photo of each of the perpetrators. I'm not sure if they were ever found. The ride was stopped, inspected, cleared before resuming normal operations following the events. Very, very interesting. Like I said, please do not do this for sure. By the way, a lot of the B-roll that you actually see on there, much of it is mine, and we're credited. Obviously that goes to the people who were the source originators of those footage. But I want to go ahead and call out people like Ron from Bradley's Fun, Marvin Montanaro, and WW Pro. I think Jonas J. Campbell's in there as well. They might go uncredited, but certainly I want to go ahead and thank them for the use of their footage. Just to be clear, let's see here. Dan's Life of the Kingdom. Unfortunately, Vash, this is going to continue to happen with other attractions. I know. I know this is not going to stop. I know that, we can get the word out there to please have it stop, but obviously people are going to be people. They're going to do what they do and not maybe appreciate the machinery around them. I understand that. I get that. But I don't know. I just want to say it because I don't want people to do this. So if we can use our platform for good, well, there you go. That's what's going on right there. Let's see. Joe Dub Faux Show, King's Dominion, and Busch Gardens Williamsburg are my home parks. King's Dominion has been on the downhill slide for many years. I definitely prefer Busch Gardens. Well, there you go. Yeah, I mean, what is it? They used to be part of, I think, Anheuser-Busch, and then now they're, I think, United Parks. That encompasses Busch Gardens and then SeaWorld and so forth. I haven't been to a Busch Gardens park before. I've only been to SeaWorld. I wasn't necessarily super impressed with those operations, but I gotta go to Busch Gardens, particularly Williamsburg, or maybe Busch Gardens Tampa, if I'm not mistaken, and check those out because I've heard nothing but great things. Awesome stuff right there. Let's see. Snicks Pivots, I do believe. Yes, people will wait in lines, but other than that, they have no patience. That's a great point. Great point right there. And it's just so, what's really unfortunate about all of this is that because of things like restaurant reservations or I don't know, other things that you schedule in advance, right? Now you're on kind of this fixed schedule when you're at Disney parks. And some people, they look at that, they look at the clock and they look at, things around them and they go, hey, I gotta get out of here. I gotta make this. I gotta make the show. I gotta do these things. And now you have a situation in which you have a ride breakdown and the efficiency by which cast members could actually work to get that ride back up or operational or get people exited now have gone up tremendously. This increased stress level, right? Especially for how expensive these parks are. All these things factor in on somebody's decision making to either stay in their vehicle or not. And that is not good. So it's a very astute observation there. Sticks Pivots, thank you so much for adding that beautiful commentary. All right, we've got, I think, time for one more story, and I would be remiss if I didn't actually bring this one up. I don't want to end with a downer, so if I have a little bit more time, I'll go ahead and showcase something else for you guys. But I teased this on yesterday's show. I got to talk about it here today. A world-renowned chef at Disney. Unfortunately, well, he may have served his last dish sometime very recently, at least at the Walt Disney Corporation, or I should say Disneyland Park / Resort. You'll understand in a second. Chef Andrew Sutton, the longtime culinary leader behind several of Disneyland Resort's signature restaurants, has departed the resort. This was no good. Andrew Sutton has been a stalwart there for like 20 years. Some of the best food I've ever had on Disneyland Resort property has been overseen and developed by this gentleman right here. Very, very sad. I'll go into my personal experiences with Chef Andrew Sutton in just a moment. But here you go. This originally brought to us by Mickey Visit. Disneyland chef in charge of Napa Rose, Club 33, and Carthay Circle has left Disney. This by Blake Taylor, March 18, 2026. Blake Taylor. Oh, interesting. There have been many Disney personal transitions this month, with changes happening at Disney theme parks around the world and the Walt Disney Company at large. As leadership comes, goes, and moves around, Disney has just confirmed another transition. This one surprises us because of the length of tenure of this culinary leader. A longtime Disneyland Resort culinary leader who is responsible for Disneyland's fanciest restaurants has departed the resort. Keep reading to learn about the change, cast member's legacy at Disneyland. Let's see. By the way, that picture right there, that is of the, I believe... Okay, now that I look at it, that might be Napa Rose, not 21 Royal. But 21 Royal actually looks very, very similar to that. That, of course, is the $18,000 high-end signature dining experience at Disneyland Park. Chef Andrew Sutton, culinary director of signature dining for Disneyland Resort, has left Disney. Mickey Visit confirmed the news with Disneyland directly. We don't know what the motivation was behind his departure. In his role, Sutton's leadership encompassed such dining locations such as 21 Royal and the ever-exclusive, or elusive, Club 33 at Disneyland Park, Carthay Circle Restaurant at Disney California Adventure, Napa Rose at Disney's Grand Californian Hotel. Sutton has been at Disneyland since April of 2000, when he was hired to be the executive chef for the launch of Napa Rose as part of the debut of Disney's Grand Californian Hotel and Spa. The restaurant is a direct result of his vision for an upscale restaurant and is noted in his official bio, which is included below. He was recruited from the we're just going to leave it for the viewer to read that because I'm going to butcher that. And I know somebody who speaks French out there and they're not going to be happy with that. So we're just going to leave that there. In Napa Valley and previously attended the Culinary Institute of America for cooking school. He has been bestowed the prestigious Antonin Carime Medal by the San Francisco chapter of the American Culinary Federation. This is no good. And by the way, this is upon the opening of Napa Rose. Napa Rose has been down for something like a year or something like that. And you would think that the person who helped launch this restaurant 25 plus years ago, you would think that he'd be coming back and that he would be launching this new menu, this new food extravaganza. Okay. And he's gone. He's left. This was very sudden. Andrew Sutton, the reason why we're highlighting this is because he has just had a profound experience on the culinary dining options for the entire Disneyland Resort. And he was really a force for good. Like the article mentioned, he started Napa Rose, and he was doing so good, so well, they decided to bring his menu to Carthay Circle in order to help launch that signature restaurant menu, right? Back in 2012, when the Carthay Circle restaurant, as part of Buena Vista Street, opened for the relaunch of California Adventure 2.0. He was there. He was doing all of that. It was great. It was fantastic. It was awesome. And then he did so well in that role that they expanded his role, and he now encompassed duties at Club 33, and then later on 21 Royal, that $18,000 exclusive dining signature experience at the very top of New Orleans Square at Disneyland Park. I mean, this guy's trajectory was absolutely out of this world, incredible. He produced amazing food. I remember he was mixing up some batter or something like that and walking through Disney California Adventure. This was like, I want to say 2013, 2012, right around the time Card the Circle was just getting started and so forth. And he was whipping something up, and he was walking from Napa Rose through Disney California Adventure to the Card the Circle right there. And I was like, hey, Andrew, what's going on? He's like, hey, nothing much. I'm just trying to get this mix over there so that we can put up some dishes. The guy was very personable, very, very cool, awesome stuff, and very sad that he left Disneyland because, man, he's had a tremendous impact. And I speculate, this is speculation, of course. I don't know what actually happened, right, with this whole, falling out between Andrew Sutton and Disney. Maybe he's just retiring. Maybe that's, as simple as that. But there have been a lot of changes at Disneyland, especially regarding food, right? There's been a controversy surrounding, like, French fries, for example. I know. It's crazy. It's French fries, right? But still, there has been this controversy recently where you have like lower quality product replacing better quality product. Maybe not the best, but better. French fries, I guess they replaced all of their fries options with kind of inferior string fries or something like that. It was just not good. It's kind of like, what are we doing here? We shouldn't be doing this. It's very, very strange. I'm trying to get some, let's see, not food merch. No, let's do this one right here. Yes, right there. Let's go ahead and go with that package for this conversation right here, because I think this is important to highlight what is actually going on here. We're going to have some footage of Walt Disney World. Bear with me, folks. When it comes to Disneyland, though, he was just so... He was the person you can rely on that, hey, his dishes might be expensive. It might be costing a little bit more than maybe, some other sit-down locations throughout the resort, but you are going to have great value and an amazing culinary experience, taste, and so forth. It was going to be very divine. Really made himself very, very known with Napa Rose, and it was awesome. It was super cool to see his ascension when it comes to culinary experiences at Disneyland. To see his menu, which was very expensive. Napa Rose is like the most expensive location that you can eat at outside of Club 33. To see some of his culinary ideas make their way to Carthay Circle was actually really, really cool, because now it's like, okay, that's a little bit more approachable and at a tiny bit lower price point and a little bit more accessible, right? That was very, very cool. I know Club 33 people, they were very happy about him being included there, because I think the consensus I got from Club 33 members was that Club 33 featured like wedding food. It was not very good. But what we've seen at Disneyland recently, like I was saying before, like the chocolate on Main Street. We covered that story here on Vash Sky ParkCast, where you had the confectionery where they make fresh chocolate treats and so forth. Walt Disney World, they don't do this. Disneyland, they do. They substituted the chocolate for reduced quality chocolate. And who knows? I mean, I know the Reese's thing is going on right now. Who even knows if it is chocolate at this point? I think it is. But lower quality stuff, come on, that's no good. They keep the price points the same, and now we are stuck with an inferior product at the same price, or maybe even more in some cases. Cisco has now been the ingredient provider for Disney. A lot of people saying that's not been very good. They have been substituting at signature dining experiences like Blue Bayou, for example. They are taking the entrees there that include like mashed potatoes and gravy, for example, and they've been substituting those with rice. Like, what? What? I mean, we're talking like $50, $60, $70 dishes, and you can't even get mashed potatoes and gravy? Absolutely insane, absolutely appalling, ridiculous. But that's actually what's been going on. So, if I had to speculate on what happened here, I don't think Andrew Sutton was all that thrilled with maybe some of the changes that they wanted him to make. Again, speculation. I have no idea, but I'm just saying, if it's been happening everywhere else, I would have to presume that it might have had an impact at Napa Rose, Carthay Circle, etc. The other thing, too, is that with Napa Rose reopening, it is reopening with a prefix menu. That means that essentially you pay a minimum fee for every single one of your party members. I believe it's well over... Can somebody in the chat, by the way, provide me that prefix meal price right there? Because I believe it was well over $80 or something per guest that you had to pay at minimum in order to eat at Napa Rose. Well, those prefix dining mandates, right? Now it's like you have to, build dishes that have to sit alongside others in that price point. Oh, okay. Is it really that much? Okay, Disney Fan 55 coming in here, $188. Wow, that is a lot. Okay, I knew I was getting 80. Okay, that's a lot. That's not what you want to see. $188 minimum to eat at Napa Rose, and you don't get a choice on what you have. You don't get a choice on maybe you just want to have appetizers and so forth, and maybe you want to have multiple entrees or whatever. You're just in at that price, and you're provided a menu for that price, and you pick from it 3 options or whatever, maybe appetizer, entree, dessert, and that's how you go about enjoying your meal. It's just a very, very different mindset that Disney has embraced in recent years in order to ensure that these restaurants, that these dining experiences make a minimum per person per day. Rogue Attraction here, still cheaper than Takumi Thai at Victoria Albert's. Yeah, well, it's Victoria Albert's. It's like when you talk about V&A, you're talking about, Michelin star food right there. Definitely one of the most expensive dining options that Disney even has in its repertoire. Elvis Gurr, I do believe, Q8W. Cisco carries high quality products as well as low score crap. This is on Disney. Yeah, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. I'll go with that. Yeah. Yep. No question about that. That is for sure. Yeah, Chef Eddie. That's not a lot. The French Laundry and per se is like $600. True. But this is like a theme park operation, right? Like this isn't the highest level of luxury dining experience that one could actually get their hands on. I think some of this should be a little bit more approachable than it is. But c'est la vie, Chef Eddie. Which, by the way, Chef Eddie, perfect name for this segment. I think your reservation is noted. Oh, so very, very interesting right there. You never like to see somebody like Chef Andrew Sutton, somebody so highly lauded and highly respected in this industry, actually make their way from Disney. But we unfortunately have been seeing that across the board for various reasons. I don't know Andrew Sutton's situation, but we've been seeing from a long time people that have done amazing work for the Walt Disney Company make their exits and so forth. We've seen also too, like people be replaced with people who don't come in at the high price tag or price point, right? People straight out of college and so forth, replacing long tenured veterans, for example. All of that and more is going on. All right, let's see right here. We want to go ahead and end on a high note, and I could think of nothing else than what's going on at Universal Studios Hollywood. We talked about it yesterday, folks, about what they were doing at Jurassic Park Experience over there in the lower lot at Universal Studios Hollywood. That's all getting ready for FanFest, and now we have one of our first commercials from the event. Let's go ahead and watch this together. I do believe we can. Universal, please don't do anything that would harm the channel. I think this is all okay. We'll go ahead and pause and so forth just to make make sure that we can actually host this. But here you go. Oh, let me go ahead and read that description. Universal Studios Hollywood really go go there and experience Universal Studios Hollywood in a new way. Step into the worlds of Scooby-Doo and the Monsters universe. One Piece, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, and more, featuring new in-world immersive experiences, fan zones, and shows. There you go. Let's go ahead and play it.
All right, trivia players, this next one is for the real fans. What is Shaggy's famous catchphrase?
Zoinks! There they are.
That's pretty cool. That's a little bit of, cross-pollination right there. That's a little bit awesome. By the way, the looks like we are getting the very classic flavors of the monsters. Some people may be a little bit afraid that we get those Monsters Unchained versions. No, it looks like we're going with the original monsters from the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. Very cool.
There they are. The Mystery Machine.
Again, that taking place actually in Little Europe over there at Universal Studios Hollywood's backlot, where those monster films were actually filmed back in those decades as previously provided. Now, obviously, some of those backlot structures maybe not be the original ones because, there have been fires, but definitely the locations there and rebuilt to very much evoke and emulate what came before. Super, super cool. Movie magic, movie history. You're going to be a part of it at FanFest Nights. There you go. One Piece is going to be featured at Universal Studios Hollywood in, like what we were discussing before, in the Water World Amphitheater right there. That is super cool. Awesome stuff. The Water World Amphitheater was not even accessible during the last FanFest event. So to fill up that whole venue right there and have a One Piece production, I think this is a perfect thing to bring to this park. Obviously, they have done something similar to this in Japan. I am very much interested in seeing the American version at FanFest 2026.
No way.
Whoa, we have Harry Potter being featured right here, and I believe it's called a hippogriff, if I'm not mistaken, right there.
Yes, that is the hippogriff, and I had to come on for this one because I got chills. I was like, well, they are delivering what Disney is not delivering. Holy smokes.
I know. And by the way, this event is like, what, $75 or something like that? No theme park admission required?
Are you
past
kidding
that
me?
point?
That's like giving away. Just take my money here, please. Charge it.
I know. This is what I'm talking about right here. The hippogriff being being featured right here. Apparently, from what I understand, there's an additional queue section for the Forbidden Journey attraction, right? And it's like within this forested area and so forth. And they're going to go ahead and reutilize that for this experience. And you're going to encounter the hippogriff at the end. It sounds super cool. It sounds almost like a kind of like Hippogriff Harry Potter meets Villain's Grove, as how it's kind of been described to me. But we'll see.
Step into a universe where immersive fandom comes alive. Universal FanFest Nights at Universal Studios Hollywood.
Very, very cool right there. Just pausing it for music just to make sure that we don't get copyright struck. I really don't want that to happen. Anyway, you can see right there, great commercial showcasing the core franchises, but there's more there. There's Sailor Moon, there's Jurassic Park, there's Dungeons and Dragons and all of that. So some of that not featured here, but man, this is really, really cool. MJ, what do you think about all of this and more?
They are nailing it, man. They are just, with the price, making it affordable, delivering amazing actors, giving the people what they deserve, those experience. A lot of people are taking on to that One Piece. Actually, a lot of middle schoolers are reading the books before they even watched the series on Netflix. So this is fantastic. This is like going to all ages, young and old. I mean, this is perfect. Great job, Universal. Please. Disney needs to learn, how to do this. They're never going to do it, though. They're never going to do it. With that price, no, they're never going to do it. This is fantastic. And I hope Universal I hope their numbers fly through the roof with this. I just wish it was here in the East Coast. It's sad that it's only on the West Coast, but hey, it's okay.
I have heard there are plans to circulating in various areas of development to maybe bring this event over to the East Coast, because I think they believe very strongly in this. I think they really do believe that this could be the spring era, the spring season equivalent to Halloween Horror Nights. Just and would really balance out the roster and the entertainment for both resorts right there. I think it could be really, really cool if that actually happens. I know Universal Fan Fest nights last time was really highly enjoyed. They thought the price point was, I think, dead on. Talked to a lot of people who were like, we're Disney fans, we have annual passes or Magic Keys, I should say, and we might be dropping those. We might be going to Universal, making that our home park going forward because of how impressed they were with FanFest nights. So it is making an impact, I think. You're right about One Piece, by the way, MJ. When Back to the Future was in the lower lot, right? They had, with that, the lower lot, I should say the back lot, they had a range of merchandise opportunities for that, right? They had displays and so forth. I think a few days into the event, they had to move out some of that Back to the Future merch and put and provide space for more One Piece merch. That's how popular it was. It just completely took them by surprise, and that's why One Piece in the Waterworld amphitheater has been approved in this way, and that's why they're providing it, because they know the demand is very, very high for all things One Piece.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially ages I would say 11 to 16. I mean, there's adults that are crazy about it as well, but the kids in middle school are being assigned the books, and they're interested, and they're reading it before, like I said, before they even watch the series. It's just like Harry Potter, the books were very popular, and then the series came out. So for Universal to grab the licenses to be able to host these type of events using those characters is genius. Total genius. Yeah. And kudos to them. Integrating Scooby-Doo with monsters. I think we called that out on T3PO last year. Yeah. I said, oh my gosh, if they use Universal monsters and Scooby-Doo, we talked about it with Lou and Nolan. We were like, what if they do this whole skit where Scooby-Doo and the Time Machine and all the gang, they have to go find clues to find the monsters. And here it is. We've been talking about it. It's just amazing. It's like magic happening right in front of us. Boo!
We're here, man. We're in this. We're in this modality now, or this place in history in which, and now we can actually bring these characters to life in these amazing, truly amazing ways, and really providing these extra entertainment offerings with this special event. You look at the competition. You look at what Disney's doing with Disneyland After Dark, that series of After Dark special experiences, or I should say Disneyland Nights. Yeah, I think it's Nights. Sorry, I'm getting confused between Walt Disney World and
Disneyland. A lot.
But Disneyland, these nighttime experiences where you have Star Wars night, you have Pride night, you have Disney Channel night, and so forth, right? Yeah. Those events are $150, $160, $170, $180 in some cases right there, whereas this, starting at a price point of around $75, $79, I just think it's just perfect. I think they're primed and ready to provide something that's really worth your money, rather than these events that have kind of been long in the tooth. They haven't really added to them, and a lot of people from what I have experienced going to them have almost regretted their purchases in the first place. So, very, very cool that Universal's doing this.
Beautiful part of that. The beautiful part about all of this, there's no DAS requirement. All ages, all types of folks can enjoy.
True.
You don't have to worry about, am I going to be able to attend? Am I going to be able to enjoy? No, you can. This is for everybody. It's doable for everyone. This is great. This is just beyond fantastic. That makes my heart happy.
That's a great point right there. Great point. Yeah, I do agree with that. It's they have such a breadth of entertainment options, and I believe the the standard attractions are available during this time as well, and they're pretty conservative with those sales, that they can ensure a great quality guest experience, no matter what your ability might be. So that's really pretty cool. Awesome stuff right there. FanFest 2026 is shaping up to be really cool. Cannot wait. I know I'm going. Might be going 2 nights. We'll see. It's gonna be really
There was
cool.
a question. If you
Please.
do you get
Oh,
admission?
yes.
Like, so do they let you in early to the
Yes.
please explain for the
Yeah,
folks.
there's a little bit of a
Okay.
mix in there. So I believe you can enter starting at around 5 or 6 California time right there. And this event goes all the way up, I mean, in some cases to 2 a.m.
Amazing.
So you're there for a long time. Yeah.
Cool.
You should have plenty of time to see pretty much everything on display. I mean, look, I took 4 hours in Back to the Future, the backlot area right there because, hey, I'm a huge Back to the Future fan, so I wasn't able to see everything that the event had to offer in its first go round.
Wow.
But I definitely got my money's worth for sure. I didn't regret any decisions actually made. So that was really cool. It was a really awesome time to be had there. So yeah, it's totally worth it. They offer, I think, a lot more in terms of value than maybe Disney does. So that is super cool. Maybe it's 3 or 4. I'd actually look when the mix-in is. It starts pretty early. I do remember that. Trust me, folks. For what they're asking for, you will definitely be richly rewarded with lots of value. So that's pretty cool. Anywho's, MJ, where can the people find you out there so that, hey, they can see more of you and your beautiful commentary?
I appreciate that, Vash. You guys can find me on Vash Sky ParkCast. That's for sure. Every Wednesday and Thursday. We have new times now, right, Vash? For the good people out there.
On Wednesdays, we're going to be doing the same thing that we do, going live at 3 p.m. Eastern, just following what is it? That
I
Park Place,
I
right?
thought it
That
was
Park
2
Place.
p.m. or maybe I'm incorrect. Is it 2 p.m.?
Okay, you're right.
Okay.
I don't even know the show times of my own show. This is
Okay.
fantastic. No,
It's
yes,
been
2 p.m.
week.
Eastern. Yeah, it's a little bit late. And by the way, the air conditioning in the house went out. So
Oh, brain
if you
fog.
hear the fans going here for the computer there, that's why it's my brain is
It's
not
okay.
doing well. But-
That's what I'm here for. I'm here.
exactly. Okay. So
Uh-huh.
2 p.m. Eastern is going to be our Wednesday time. Nothing's changed there. You should be redirected from that Park Place on over to our show, but it'll happen after that Park Place has concluded. And then on Thursday, we have adjusted the time slightly. Instead of going live at 8 p.m. Eastern, we are now going live at 7 p.m. Eastern right there. So 7 p.m. Eastern is our start time. And the idea is hopefully that we allow for enough time in order to bring you the coverage that you so richly deserve from Vash Sky ParkCast, and then bring you on over and redirect you to Marvin's amazing M4 Empire. We want to make sure that you can experience the best of both. So that's what we're going to try to do here. This show went a little bit longer. We might keep it to an hour in order to increase the time that people can spend with Marvin over there at M4 Empire. We'll go ahead and adjust that accordingly if it needs to be.
And
But
there's
around an hour or
a
so.
few other amazing channels. Follow the Bradley's Fun on the Dish, hanging out there with friends. We got the Erica and Raph have their show every Friday. It's Brood Banter, hanging out with a lot of the fine panelists that you see on all of these channels. They go to their house and they're in their living room. We're hanging out. We're just having a good old time talking about the whole week. So that's their show on Fridays. I'm speaking metaphorically. We don't get on a plane and go fly over there. But anyway, we are. You can find me on that Park Place Mondays and Wednesdays, and I believe that still goes live at 12. So just wherever the good Lord sends me, I'm there. And you guys know I love you guys, and I love to be here. It's an honor. It's a privilege to be here, and I really enjoy hanging out with all these amazing people. Jess, huge shout out to you for tonight. It was so great having you on, and doing more things like that, helping out all of our friends, uplifting each other. Remember out there, it's a blessed day to be alive. Make it count, and always remember to keep your head up and just stay positive and do what makes you happy, no matter what it is.
Exactly. I fully agree with that. MJ, you've been bringing happiness wherever you go. So I want to go ahead and thank you for everything that you do. I'm trying to find anybody who might be live right now. I cannot find anybody who is. I just want to make sure that we don't leave any of our friends left out right there. Well, I think Lorena's live, actually. We can go ahead and send you on over there. I think that's okay. Let's see if we can boot her up, and then that way you can go ahead and join an amazing Lorena Creole production right there. And hey, make sure you tell her where you came from with that amazing Vash Sky ParkCast raid. That would be pretty cool right there. Yeah. So there you go. Lorena, just go ahead and stream right now. So we'll go ahead and get you on over there.
If you guys happen to have a link for her, any of our amazing mods, would you mind putting it in the live chat? That way the good people can click on her link. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Very good.
You'll be ready to tour at the conclusion of our show right here. Let me go ahead and get everything ready for that. I want to go ahead and thank each and every one of you for joining us here for this amazing showing of Vash Sky ParkCast. I really, really enjoy everybody who was able to join us in the chat. You know, some new faces, fresh faces, everybody. Thank you so much. And by the way, RJ over there in the chat. That's pretty cool. Mary Vita, of course, Chef Eddie, Erica and Raph. That's pretty cool. Awesome stuff. Hello there, Erica. Denzel of the Kingdom. Everybody, you just have been really, really phenomenal. Thank you to every single one of you. Hey, you know what? We have hit major milestones recently on the channel. 2,000 subscribers. You made that possible. So thank you for doing that. If you haven't yet, well, you can go ahead and hit that button. You know what to do for that for sure. Also, too, we are going to have the debut of memberships very, very soon. I want it to be next week. Just understand, if I apply, don't get approved by then, well then, we'll have to wait just a little bit longer, but great stuff is in the works. I can tell you that for sure. Thank you so much, Sargon, farewell, O2RR, and hopefully, OG Dutchy, it was a wonderful show for you watching on the rewatch. Thank you so much. We will see you next week at 2 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday. Should be very cool. Remember, folks, Skyliners, I should say, the sky is the limit.